Yeah, I've got some things that I agree with and some things that I don't agree with. I think sometimes aesthetics practitioners sometimes can go into the surgeon route. They think they're kind of a little bit of a surgeon. So for me, it's the breast filler, the bum filler. I just don't think it should be offered by aesthetic practitioners at all.
Hello and welcome back to the Face It podcast. I'm your host Jessica, and today we've got some super spicy conversations lined up for you. Before that though, I just want to mention we are now streaming from so many services. There is literally no excuse not to catch us when you're either on your way to work, when you're cooking dinner, or maybe even if you're in the bath. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts, and now Radio Public as well. So please remember to rate, review and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Any and all interaction from our community is so important to reach more people just like you, and it helps us more than you could possibly know, so thank you. It is now time though to introduce our guest today, so I want to say a warm welcome to the wonderful Megan Ward of MK Studios in Nottingham. Hello Megan.
Good morning.
Morning, thank you so much for coming on the show and speaking with us today. I know you're super busy. So I am going to just probably jump into the first question, rather than hanging around. People just like to know the nitty gritty and get to know you and your opinions on things really in your industry. So my first one is a bit of a fun one for you. If you could only choose one aesthetics procedure to undergo either yourself or that you could only offer your clients for the rest of your life, which one would it be and why would you choose that particular treatment?
For me, it would be lip fillers.
Okay.
Reason being, it's changed my life. I had a very straight lip, and yeah, that's one thing. I had this conversation last week with another practitioner, and for me, yeah, it's lip filler. It changes your anatomy a lot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, definitely
I
lip filler.
completely agree. I mean, I started having filler, I think it was probably coming up for 10 years ago now. So I've been having
Yeah,
it gradually over 10 years. And it was a massive game changer for me. So, and
yeah,
like you can go crazy or you can build it up over
yeah.
time. I personally prefer the sort of building it up over time approach. I don't know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think lots of things have changed now as well. There's different techniques, and yeah, there's new knowledge. So I think fillers years ago had this persona and look where they don't necessarily look like that anymore.
Yeah, the techniques have definitely come on a long way, like you say. And I think as well, like the way people treat, the consultation process is completely different. I mean, I saw a
Yeah,
doctor initially years ago, and it felt so quick. It was just sort of get in, get it done. I did my consent form, but it felt very quick and in and out. Whereas I
yeah,
feel like people have learned to spend a bit more time with their clients and stuff now,
yeah,
and really getting to understand what they want. Yeah, Phil is your favourite sort of treatment.
yeah,
I think it's probably mine. Although I do love a bit of Botox, I must admit. But I'm
yeah,
35 now. I don't know how old you are. You don't have to spill,
yeah,
Megan. But um, I'm 35, so I think I must admit anti-wrinkle is probably my top treatment personally.
yeah. I think it depends with your line of your age. I think when you get into your 30s, that's like a must-have as well. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that kind of brings me on to my next question actually. Do you think there is a preferable age for people to consider starting treatments, particularly with things like anti-wrinkle or skin boosters, or do you
Yeah,
think it's just down to
absolutely.
personal preference?
Yeah, I do believe. So I've just turned 30. I've been having anti-ring for a few years. One, because I like to know how a treatment works if I'm going to offer it. And two, because you have, for me, I now know you not to make lines and then start having treatments because you get a lot of people through the door wanting to take away a lot of things and you can't take it away. We're not like a magician.
Yeah.
So yeah, anti-wrinkle definitely. I think from your early 30s, you should definitely be thinking about it. And if you've any got any lines or anything, it's something that you should be already having. Not allowing to that to implement and have lines in your head already. Yeah, there's just a whole stigma I think with the anti-wrinkle. A lot of people are scared. But if you do your research, you go to the right practitioner, you go to somebody that knows what they're doing, then you're in safe hands.
I think you're totally right when you said there's a bit of misconception. I mean, I know there's a lot of practitioners trying to educate people that earlier is better now,
Yeah,
but there's still a lot of misconception amongst clients that, oh, anti-wrinkles for older older people,
Yeah,
like when they get in the 30s and 40s, and it's not true.
yeah,
Which, I think that's why I started having it around the age of sort of 26, 27, because I
yeah,
came from a clinical background where they did facial aesthetics, and I knew it was a preventative more than a
yeah,
solution.
absolutely.
So, but yeah, like you say, I think practitioners now are trying to educate clients that,
Yeah,
get in early.
yeah, absolutely. It's harder when people come in and it's what can you do for me? Like, how big's the pot of money?
Yeah, this is it, because it does get more expensive and more difficult,
Yeah,
as people get older. So yeah, I think there'll be a whole generation of us that have that know that and have that knowledge, and
looking
we'll
down.
be doing it a bit earlier than maybe the generations before.
Yeah.
So, what is the most bizarre or maybe outlandish aesthetic or beauty trend that you've maybe seen over the past 5 years? Because you've obviously been in practice for 5 years now, haven't you, doing
Have,
it?
yeah.
Have you seen any trends or anything that you just think, oh, what is that?
Yeah, I've got some things that I agree with and some things that I don't agree with. I think sometimes aesthetics practitioners sometimes can go into the surgeon route. They think they're kind of a little bit of a surgeon. So for me, it's the breast filler, the bum filler. I just don't think it should be offered by aesthetic practitioners at all, medic or non-medic. I just think that's a surgery job, and to leave
Yeah,
it, I think there's a cut-off point. And it's an amazing what we can offer and the differences that we can make. But I do believe that there's a line, and sometimes people just cross that line, and it's very dangerous. The anatomy is completely different when you're working in them sort of areas, and yeah, it's really dangerous, especially with breasts. Obviously, with breast cancer, you could get lumps. Yeah, for me, I believe that should be left to surgeons and things like that. We shouldn't be offering.
yeah, like you say, there's a line, isn't there? And you've got to know where that line starts and ends. And like you say, you're moving into a completely different territory, and that is surgical territory. And I think you're right. Over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of that popping up and down the country, and well, globally, across the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, I
Lots
don't
of new
feel like it's cost
treatments.
effective either, because obviously filler
No.
naturally breaks down over the months, the years, depending on the body. So it's safe. It's 2.5 grand for 10 mil of like bum filler, and that's going to break down within a year. So if that's something you thought about, maybe go and think about a surgery route, because it's going to be more cost effective in the long run anyway. And
Yeah,
then it's
yeah,
being done by a
exactly.
surgeon that works within that area and has expertise, rather than people just injecting filler into muscles.
All body parts,
Yeah,
willy nilly
really
anywhere.
dangerous.
Yeah, no, I can agree. Do you think it's got staying power though? Those kind of treatments. Do you think that they're sort of here to stay now, or do you think maybe they'll sort of fizzle off?
I think they'll fizzle off because I don't think financially it works, and somebody hasn't got 2.5 grand just to go and put 10 mil of filler in every year or something. So I don't believe that they're here to stay. I think someone's just thought of an idea and done it. And obviously, the thing is with this industry, if somebody plants a seed, it can go wild, and people like jump into that pot, which is great. But I'd like to say there is a line for me, and I know where to stay with that line. Yeah, and just to focus on what I do and not to follow all trends. And it's about making sure that we're keeping our clients safe. That's the number 1 key in aesthetics, is to ensure that you know safety rules, how to keep them safe, and they know that you know how to keep them safe.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Megan. To be honest, like you say, that's ultimately your focus throughout.
Yeah,
Choosing treatments, offering treatments, doing treatments is how safe is this for my client? And then if at any point there's even remotely a percentage that you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure, like just don't do it.
yeah,
Even a
absolutely.
remotely part of you that thinks this isn't particularly the best thing to offer. So, what has been the worst thing that you have personally witnessed? And by that, I mean not necessarily a client that's walked in, although it could be a client that's walked in from elsewhere, but even just online that you've seen this field. And, how has it helped you as a practitioner? Has there been a case that's sort of stuck with you? Because I know with me, when I've done things, there's just been that one thing I've seen that's just stuck with me. And I've thought either
Yeah,
I don't want to be that practitioner or that
yeah.
type of practitioner, or I don't want to make those mistakes.
So I think at the minute, and it's been a builder for a couple of years, it's like so again with the whole filler aesthetics world, it's people charging ridiculous prices for treatments that are high end prices. So when you see £50 a mil or £60 a mil, 3 years of Botox for £100, like if you are in the industry and you're doing it correctly, you go down the prescription only medication route and you're ordering from pharmacies and you've got a prescriber, you know that is not feasible and you physically cannot do it. So it's about these just seeing other practitioners training in these areas and flooding it with all these ridiculous prices, and you know full well that that can't be done. You can't
Yeah.
beat it. It's just crazy how it's getting flooded and how things are getting washed out. And like I say, expensive um, treatments are now being flushed with all this cheapness. And then people think, oh, she's expensive. And it's like, no, that's
Yeah.
actually the right amount of money.
That's
But it's
what
just
it
being,
should cost to
yeah,
acquire
it should, that's what it should
those
be
yeah.
cost. Yeah. So yeah, it's
Yeah, and
just
that's the problem. It's just one starts offering it super cheap or using really cheap
yeah,
materials or whatever, and then it's a snowball effect, isn't it? And it kind of
yeah.
affects the whole
And then
industry.
nine
And
times out of ten, you're contacted at a later date to fix this or to say, right, this has happened, and it's like, well, if you pay, you get what you pay for at the end of the day, and then before you know it, you're doing a dissolve and refill, or you're being asked for expertise if like anti wrinkle goes wrong, or yeah, then you're getting questioned on something that you haven't done because people don't want to pay your prices, which is fair enough because not everybody's affordability is the same. But if you can't afford to have a treatment done at a reputable price, don't have it done.
don't have it. Yeah, save until you can afford to
Yeah.
have it done. I think that's the problem with it, isn't it? It's a bit different to surgeries where you're spending thousands.
Hmm.
So people almost know that they've got some level of spending or finance they've got to put behind it. But because the treatments they're not stupidly expensive,
Hmm.
they almost start to hustle a little bit to try and find where
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
shave 20 quid off here, 30 quid off
Yeah.
there. And you think, it's still, a risky treatment
Yeah,
if
you're
not
still
done
having something
properly.
injected into your face, and a lot of people, like I have consultations, so I'll ask them, "Do you know what previous products you've had?" And nine times out of ten, people don't know what they've
Yeah.
had. For me, I'd like to be informed, and I've got the knowledge base now, so maybe it's a little bit different. But yeah, people don't ask questions, and they don't know what they've had, and yeah, it's a scary world.
No, they don't. I mean, I've had experience of that, where I've gone into, various practitioners and some of them don't even show you what you've had. Like, I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what product was used. And this is
yeah,
before I was really involved in the industry or, before I really understood that that was probably more of an acceptable way to do a consultation and to show me what's being used. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's rife. Oh, yeah, you're a trainer, aren't you, as well? I think you do
yeah.
offer training, Megan. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what training you offer?
So I offer skin training. So everything to do with skin, I do training. I am touching into um, fat dissolving and skin boosters, but I simply don't want to offer aesthetics training. That's just personal to me. So when I first started in the industry, I started off with skin, and I just love it. I've looked at my market and around my area. I'm based in Nottingham, and there's not really a market for skin training. So I've been putting it off, and we're up, we're live, and we are training. So I offer like a facial therapy course, dermaplaning, microneedling, chemical peels, and like I say, I'm going to be touching on skin boosters and some fat dissolving lemon bottle. Yeah, I really, really enjoy training, and skin's so important. And especially if you want to go into the aesthetics industry, you have to have that understanding and knowledge regarding skin and the anatomy. Um, and when I trained, I didn't train in six things at once. It took me a course of like 3 years to train over because I wanted to make sure that I understood, that I was competent, that I had enough training, enough models, enough knowledge. And for me, it worked really, really well doing that. And then eventually, I went on to do my nursing. So I've done 2 years of my adult nursing, then went into aesthetics. So I have got like a medical background behind me as well. But yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. And I thought this would be great to teach other people and students and allow them to start their journey.
Yeah, to give people that baseline knowledge, like you say, and if you're quite passionate about skin, because that's where you started from,
Yeah,
you've grown over time to get to the
yeah,
position that you're in today. And I think that's something that people don't realise. It's a journey. It's a
yeah,
marathon, not a
absolutely.
sprint, isn't it? This industry. And
No,
as much as there are, courses and the ability to just take everything and do everything all at once, I don't know how much that's a good thing for anyone. I
it's a
think
lot to take
taking
in
that,
at one
it
time.
is a
Even when I
lot.
did my aesthetics, I trained in dermal fillers, and then I think it was a year later I trained in anti-wrinkle. For me, I wanted to make sure I understand there's a whole minefield behind it all, and to understand and to, like I say, to grow. Even 2 weeks ago, I was doing a content day with a videographer, and I had my first positive aspiration in a chin. And I'm in the field now 4 years in aesthetics. And it's like every day is still a learning day. And regardless how long you've been in this industry, there's always something to learn. And yeah, that's what I try and do is continuously learn and make sure that I'm up to scratch with everything.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I was talking to a guest last week, and we were sort of saying it can happen at any point. I think there's this feeling that, once you know everything, and you'll be able to avoid it forever. And it's not if, it's when.
Yeah.
There's always going to
Safety
be,
first.
yeah, there's always going to be that one client where you have one of those medical situations occur. So yeah, it's good not to get complacent. I think people can quite easily get complacent, and like
Absolutely.
you say, working on your skills one at a time, and just getting clients in for that one treatment is going to give you so much more confidence working with the skin, and then you can move on to the next one, and then the next one, and you
Absolutely.
build that
It works
repertoire
really
of.
well for me. Obviously, it's per choice, but for me, doing one thing at a time, I could really study and focus and gain knowledge and really good understanding on that treatment and then move on eventually. And it really, really worked.
It's good that you've found a little sort of gap in your area as well, the way you can sort of fill that gap with training, and there isn't masses of
Absolutely.
people doing the focus on skin, and that gives you a really good opportunity for you and your company to sort of break out in that
Yeah.
market within Nottinghamshire. So that's brilliant, and equally it's something you're passionate about, which is
Yeah.
great. Which sort of brings me on to what made you want to become a trainer in the first place. Like, what thought process was there?
So, like I say, I've been training in skin. It was 2019, February 2019. And when I did it, I was just kind of doing a course. I never had any um, desires and thought, oh, I'm going to make a huge business out of this. And this is the path it's led me to. So when I sit at the drawing board, I sit down and work out my goals, my visions, what it is that I want to do. And for me, it was the next step was to teach people the anatomy, the skin training. And I thought this would be amazing. And like I say, there's a massive gap in the market for it. And there's not many people that do the things that I do. So I thought, yeah, it'd just be a great opportunity to train. And I love talking. I'm always talking. And yeah, teaching people because allowing people to understand their skin, even as a personal point of view. So not necessarily they want to train, but understanding. And I thought it's just really interesting to be able to teach people the knowledge and how to look after their skin. And yeah,
Yeah, I mean, what's your favourite part of training someone? Is it just that passing on your knowledge part, or is it that you get to sort of nurture them afterwards? Do you have a
yeah,
favourite part?
it's I've it's both really. It's seeing them understand and they getting it, and when because I like have a questionnaire kind of thing, and they do like so many questions, and like I was training yesterday, and when they get it, and it's like, oh, I'm doing what I should be doing. They understand it. I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm doing it. And then seeing them be able to crack on and work like it is great. It's so nice. It's so rewarding to myself as well because I think yeah, it's so nice being self-employed. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy, but being self-employed and working for yourself and creating a life for your family and not having to work a basic job, like it's amazing. It's so rewarding, and being able to guide someone in that way, it's just great.
Yeah, it's quite rewarding, isn't it? Being able to, like you say, get people on that track of being
Hmm.
self-employed and having their own freedom in what they
Absolutely.
do, in their work, in their choices, in their schedule and everything else. I think freedom is probably one of the biggest benefits of these kind of
Absolutely.
industries, giving you that. I am going to move the conversation on slightly, sort of away from training and aesthetics, just because Faces, we've definitely seen an increase over the past couple of years, particularly this past sort of 6 months, in the uptake of finance options. So it's quite interesting to find out from practitioners if you've seen an increase in utilising other payment methods other than cash. And do you offer other payment methods at the moment, or is that not something that you've really looked at doing?
Yeah, so obviously I use Faces also for my consultation. That I also use it for the finance hub, and we have a card machine, and we take cash transfer card machine. We use the finance option for Faces, and yeah, that's about it really. I don't use Klarna or anything like that. The Faces works really well for me and the business, so we just use that. We haven't really had any interest or any other ideas from clients because I'm quite open to listen to what the client wants or like suggestions. But yeah, that works really well for MK Studio. So yeah, it works.
Good, no, that's really good to hear. I mean, like I say, we've definitely seen a bit of an increase and an uptick in the past 6 months or so of people putting in more of those finance applications
Yeah,
and stuff.
they're really
Um,
easy to use and they're really quick to get back to like the client as well. So yeah, it is really handy. I think everyone loves the split the payment off option because it's a finance free option. So yeah, it's great.
yeah, it gives a lot more flexibility to the client, doesn't it? And I think
Yeah,
especially if they're looking at having multiple treatments,
yeah.
it gives them that ability to split it down a little bit. But I know I have my own thoughts on why that is, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on why people are sort of swinging more towards pay later schemes or split schemes,
I think obviously
especially in the
the
last
rising
year?
cost of things, it's a little bit difficult. I don't think cash flow is as it was before.
As
I think
strong
things
as
are
it
getting,
was.
yeah, I think things are getting a little bit tight. So the obviously splitting the payments, it's great, it's affordable, and if you are able to do it, then great. We love to be able to split the payments out over 3 months or however many months there is. But yeah, it's still allowing clients to have treatments that they had before that maybe had the cash for and doesn't so much now. So still being able to have them treatments, it's great because you shouldn't be able to not have them.
I
So I just
think people still want to look good regardless of what's
yeah,
going
absolutely.
on. Like people do prioritize, feeling good in themselves. And I think
Yeah,
especially, when there is things going on in the world and cost of living crisis and people are
yeah,
feeling generally a bit low,
yeah,
sometimes they kind of turn to feeling good about themselves in other ways to kind of offset how everything else in the world's making them
yeah.
feel.
No, I agree.
Um,
When you are feeling
so
down, you want to go and have get your hair done, your nails done, have treatments, have a
yeah.
facial, and treat yourself, whatever it is you desire, that makes you feel better. Aesthetics is a massive part of that. So being able to afford that is great.
Yeah, and I think, it's one of the only industries that, it doesn't seem to drop off the radar, even if there is financial crisis or anything else. People
Yeah,
still find the money to have their nails done, or they still
absolutely.
find the money to have their hair sorted out.
Yeah,
It's one of those funny things, and I think it just comes back to how it
essential.
makes people feel. It just
Yeah,
makes people feel
yeah,
better.
yeah,
They can do without maybe the Sky TV, or they'll cut off
yeah,
their bill for other things, but when it
yeah.
comes to nails and hair or
Cancel that
aesthetics or
gym
whatever,
membership.
yeah, they do, but it seems to be the one and only things they will keep hold of until the
I
very
think the
end.
beauty
Like,
industry is very, very strong, and anything with women in it. So I see some men have got businesses with like hair companies or salons. Anything to do with women, you're never going to go out of business because women will not stop having these things.
yeah,
Um,
they always invest in themselves, don't they?
yeah, yeah.
That's it. So we're kind of coming to the end of our episode, really, Megan. But I would like to know if you could go back and do one thing differently in the launch of your career in this industry, what would it be? And anything goes by that, anything. Is there anything that you
It's
would
tricky.
potentially do differently? It sounds like you've had a good journey in, though.
Yeah, honestly, I have. I've had a really, really good journey. Um, I don't know what I would change if I'm quite honest
That's
with you.
good. That's a great thing. Like,
Yeah, I really focused and I really worked hard. Eventually, like got premises, and yeah, I don't. That you've actually, I'm lost a little bit for that question. I
How have
think
you found having a premises? Like, has that been quite challenging?
It's been great. I quite like my own space. I never really wanted to go in anybody else's space. I'm like so sacred. I'm so funny. Um, so yeah, I love having my own premises. It is really great. I've got my own freedom. I come and go as I want. I work on a Sunday. It's great. So no, I don't know what I would actually change if I was to go back and do it again, because I feel like I did things for me how I what worked for me, as in my training. I took it step by step. I
Yeah.
went into my nursing. I then went into my aesthetic. So yeah, I don't think I would change anything if I'm quite honest.
You've took
Um,
it steady and you've done it
yeah,
chronologically, and you've put a lot of thought into how you're going to move through your career, which I think
yeah.
sometimes is where
Probably
people maybe have a regret.
one thing I may, and I don't think I would change, but more mindset. So with the training academy, I was like, right, I'm going to do it, and then I was like, oh my God, the thought of doing it, I was just putting it off. So it's about
Yeah.
actually believing in myself and pushing through and just working on what I need to work on at that instance and stop putting it off, schedule it, get it done. Because things that you put off for 8 weeks, you'll sit down and do it, and it might take you 2 evenings. And it's like you've just been putting off all that time. So yeah, maybe just believing in myself a little bit more, because anything's possible. And I've worked so hard, and like I said, I've been in the industry for 5 years now, and I've built a great business. A lot of people know me in the area. I'm recognised, and so yeah, it's great. I haven't got, hopefully not, got any bad things, anything about the business. So yeah,
Do you think that that's a little bit of imposter syndrome just creeping in there when it came to
absolutely.
training? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It is scary because obviously seeing clients and then training people, you don't know that person that's coming in. It's a bit scary. Um, but once you get into it and you start training, you're like, look, I love it. It is imposter syndrome, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, just flicking that
It's
the
that
devil
moment of
shoulder.
thinking, who do I think I am training these people?
Yeah,
Like, what
I know.
makes me think I can, pass on my knowledge? What makes
I
me
met
special?
with
It's all those thoughts.
Yeah, I met with another lady last week, and she was like, "How's it going with your training?" I was like, "Great, but I'm not doing half as what I should be." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I'm terrified." And she was like, "No, Megan, stop." She was like, "You're great at what you do." And she was like, "Look, crack on. You are the expert. And if these people didn't want to train with you, they wouldn't. Like, they want to. They want your knowledge and expertise." And I was like, "Okay, I'll, I'll
You've
try."
just got to push through it, haven't you? You've
Yeah,
got to push through
absolutely.
that negative voice. And I think
Yeah,
sometimes it's there because it's the next phase you're supposed to be going on
yeah,
to,
yeah.
and
It's the
it's
next growth,
telling
isn't
you
it?
you're ready. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
ready. It's growth, and yeah, so no, well done. Congratulations on
thank
finally
you.
working through it, and you will build on that, I'm sure. And
Thank you so
like
much.
you say, you've took your time in the business, you've built really, really steady, good foundations for it,
Yeah,
which is amazing. And that should be something that a lot of practitioners who are listening, or people just starting out, should
yeah.
probably take a little bit of a
It's
leaf out of
definitely
your
not a
book.
race. It does
Yeah.
take time, and build it up over the years, because a lot of people get overwhelmed and maybe fail and think, oh, this is too much. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just take it baby steps.
A lot of people kind of feel like they should be a lot further along, and I think social
Yeah,
media plays a role in that. They
yeah,
look at it and think, oh, I've been qualified a year now, like I should be booked
yeah.
out. And it's that feeling of constantly like you're behind
We all live
everyone.
completely different lives. Like, I've got two small children, so I do
Yeah.
what I can and I put them first. And you've got to have like boundaries and set and just work. There's absolutely no race. And like I say, we all live different home lives, and you've just got to do what you can do. And it is a lot. Owning a business, you think, God, I'm not going to work a 9 to 5. But when you've got your own business, it's a 12 till 12. It
Yeah.
doesn't stop. The
It
cogs are
is.
going all the time. Yeah, it's a lot.
It is a lot, and I think, like you say, just removing yourself away from social media and what everyone else is doing, and just
Yeah,
focus on your own path and your own growth plan. And
yeah.
not everyone will want to grow into a trainer, not everyone will want to
No.
go and do their nursing, not everyone,
I actually
everybody
never
is on
wanted a
different paths.
salon ever. Never wanted
Really?
a salon, never. It was never part of the plan, never a desire, never in any of my goals, and never one. And then the path I was on just led me here, and I was like, oh, I've
Just
got my own
opened it
business.
up.
I've had it for 3 years, and it's like, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah, but sometimes doors just open, don't they? And
Absolutely.
opportunities just happen. And it's being able to recognise when there's an opportunity there and thinking, you know what, this wasn't in the plan, but this is perfect for me. And I
Yeah.
think this is a really good chance, good risk to take,
Yeah.
like a good educated risk to take. So well done, you. That's really good.
Thank you.
Lastly, you are a Faces Consent user. I know you mentioned this
Yeah.
earlier anyway, but out of all the features that we've sort of got on the platform, what's your favourite feature and why is it useful in your business?
So I've got two favorite features. So the consultation, I think it's amazing. So you can send um, consultations previously to the treatments directly to the client. They can go through it all. You come in, obviously, have a chat over everything. I think it's so handy. It's not paper based. It's great. It works all the time. I've never had a glitch. And also, you can do it in person. Yeah, I just think it's amazing. It's all safe. It's all secure. It's on the phone. It's brilliant. I will never look back.
That's
I will
good. That's what
never
we
look.
like to hear.
And also the finance hub. I think the finance hub is great. Really easy, really straightforward for yourself and for the client. It's really quick, really easy. They get back to you really quickly. Yeah, amazing.
Thank you for that. That's great. And yeah, that's consent forms and finance for
Yeah,
those listening. So we do have both of those on the app, along with lots of other nice tools as well.
yeah.
So before we say bye, then Megan, where can our community find you online?
So our Instagram handle is MK Studio Nottingham. That's also MK Studio Nottingham on Facebook. And the webpage again is MK Studio Nottingham.
That's great. Thanks, Megan. Thanks for meeting us today and for giving us your expert opinion on all things industry. And I wish you best of luck with
Thank you
everything that
for
you
having
do
me.
in the future.